to Flight Attendant Career Connections welcome video. This is a welcome video. This video really is designed for new members of the group or new aspiring flight attendants that are new to the process. So this video is, first of all, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the group and how the group can help, how Flight Attendant Career Connection can help you. I'm also going to go over some frequently asked questions as far as the process goes and standards, qualifications, requirements, things like that to become a flight attendant. We're going to talk a little bit about the current situation in the aviation industry from the hiring perspective. So from someone who is not in aviation that's looking to get into aviation, we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then I'm also going to break down exactly how you become a flight attendant. So the steps that you will go through during the process to become a flight attendant. And I'm going to share with you a couple resources that will definitely help you on this journey. So let's go ahead and get started. First of all, I am Abby Unger. I'm the owner and founder of Flight Attendant Career Connection, which is either the group that you're in right now when you're watching this welcome video, or if you found this video on YouTube, it is a Facebook group as well that's free. I would love for you to join. I'll put the links down in the comments just in case you're not a member yet. But like I said, the goal of this video really is to help new members to the group or people who are new to the flight attendant interview hiring process learn what they need to do to reach their career goal. The goal of Flight Attendant Career Connection is to help aspiring flight attendants reach their goals faster and with less frustration. So like I said, I'm Abby. I founded the company about a little over 6 years ago, 6.5 years ago now. And since then, we have been able to help thousands of aspiring flight attendants reach their career goals. Now, today is April 5th. 2020, and I am filming this video from a state of quarantine in Hawaii, in the state that I live in, Hawaii. And if you have found this video later on, some of the stuff will be relevant, some of it will not. But right now we're in a very interesting, scary, uncomfortable, unusual time in every aspect of that. But we're talking about the aviation industry. So right now there is a slowdown in travel. Only necessary travel really is hopefully what's going on, which means tickets are not being sold and bags are not being checked and flights are not being taken, which is affecting the industry negatively. So we had, for the last 7 or 8 years, been experiencing a really beautiful boom in travel and in seeing the world and getting out there and going on journeys and doing all the things that we as aviation professionals love about aviation, is the ability to travel. And we had been experiencing sort of a boom in that area. And because of that, airlines were growing, airlines were hiring. Every day there would be at least a dozen airlines accepting applications. We were interviewed. At the beginning of this year, Delta announced that they wanted to hire something like 2,000 new flight attendants this year, and that was just Delta. So we really had been experiencing a bit of a boom, and a very plentiful, opportunities were plentiful. A couple weeks ago, it was like, and everything sort of crashed. People had interviews canceled, trainings canceled, were released from training before they could graduate. Now, those people still have offers. They're still waiting to go back to training so that they can finish. They still have the hope that they can still rest on the hope and the truth in the fact that they were able to sit in front of a recruiter and show them what a great flight attendant they'll be. And that's something that will never change. They will always have the capacity to be a great flight attendant, but the opportunities are much less now than they have been. Okay, so let's go ahead and start. So that's a little bit about where we are right now currently. Now, just because there is a hiring freeze going on right now, I don't want to say hiring freeze right now, because hiring has very, very much slowed down. And also because we are practicing social distancing, interviews cannot actually happen in person. There's that as well as the decreased need for flight attendants, has sort of put us in a strange holding pattern if you're an aspiring flight attendant. That's not to say, though, that everything has completely stopped, because it has not completely stopped. There are still some airlines that are accepting applications, okay? So we're not going to use the word hiring, not hiring. We're going to use the phrase accepting applications because it's more accurate to what is actually happening. So hiring or not, I don't know exactly what's going on in the back end, but there are several airlines that are still accepting applications as of the filming of this video today. There's a link in the description of this video that will take you to a list of airlines. It's updated every couple days of who's hiring. We actually, if you've been around a while, we used to say hiring. Now we say accepting applications. Okay, so it will show you who's accepting applications. Also, last week, Republic and Spirit both sent out video interview invitations to people who had applied. So of course they cannot do face-to-face interviews because of social distancing and because we are all working to flatten the curve. But there have been people within the last week who have completed interviews for the flight attendant position, okay? So I don't know when things are going to ramp back up. I don't know when training is going to start again. I don't even know when I'm gonna be allowed to get out of my house and go to TJ Maxx. But what I do know is that there are some airlines accepting applications. So if you are an aspiring flight attendant, please throw your hat in the ring for every ring that is open. So I really encourage you to fill out those applications if an airline is accepting applications. Now, if you get a video interview invitation, it is not a joke, it's not a hoax, it's probably not a glitch. I know with Spirit and Republic it was not a glitch. So please complete your video interviews in the way that you want to, that you would always complete them, with hope and aspirations, and hopefully this works. There have been some airlines over the last actually several years that have actually offered jobs to aspiring flight attendants just based on the video interview. Republic is one of those, and they sent out video invitations. So that means you could actually get completely hired without going to a face-to-face during social distancing. Now, like I said, I have no idea when training classes are going to ramp back up. We're hoping it's going to be sooner rather than later. But what is going to happen in the industry, more than likely, is over the next couple months, airlines will start to offer early retirement buyout packages to employees, flight attendants who have been flight attendants for a while. So people who were maybe at the end of their career anyways, thinking they were going to retire in June or maybe next year, they may go ahead and take the package offered by their airline because it may include some extra benefits that they wouldn't have gotten if it was just a regular retirement. So that will happen. We will also have people who will decide that their time in aviation is probably finished because they don't want to be flying. Maybe they feel unsafe. Maybe this whole thing has shifted their priorities. I don't know, but they will resign from aviation. So when we come out of this, there will be some people who have left flying and left their flight attendant careers for various reasons, and that could create a deficit, and that could help us get our training classes going faster due to attrition. Now, of course, I don't have a magic ball, and I'm not exactly sure when all of that would happen. I am hopeful that it will be sooner rather than later. I'm hopeful that when the aviation, when all of the restrictions are lifted, that people will be so ready to seize the day and start working on their bucket list that they will start booking flights and traveling. That is what I'm believing and hoping for. So that is a little bit of where the industry is right now. So can you get hired now? Maybe. Can you apply to become a flight attendant now? Yes. But I don't know when training is going to be offered. So that would be kind of the next step after your application and your interview, okay? So that's a little bit of an update of where we are now. Now, if you are new to aviation and you're saying, I don't even know how to become a flight attendant, let's talk about that. That has not changed, all right? First of all, frequently asked questions. Am I too old and am I too fat to become a flight attendant? You are not too old. You are absolutely not too old. In the United States, which is where all of this information applies to airlines based in the U.S., There is no age limit. And that is not just lip service. There is literally no age limit. I work with clients, most of my clients actually are 45 to 65-year-old women who, a lot of them even stay-at-home moms without traditional work experience, and they get hired and have this beautiful second career as a flight attendant and get to fulfill some really cool dreams that they've had. Airlines will hire into your 70s. I've heard the oldest that I have personally heard is 72. Someone was hired at the age of 72. Now, there could be flight attendants that have been hired older than that. There are definitely working flight attendants older than that. But that is I like to give very concrete information based on what I know, and 72 is the oldest that I have seen confirmed. Now, MI2, is there a weight limit? All right. Now, there is no weight limit in the United States. Thank the Lord, they do not weigh flight attendants in any way anymore at all. You don't have to worry about your BMI. You don't have to worry about how much you weigh. They're not going to weigh you. But you do need to be able to fit in the jump seat comfortably and fit down the aisle comfortably. So a good rule of thumb for that, because again, I like to give concrete numbers, is about a size 18 women's. If you're about a size 18, you should be good. We all carry our weight a little bit different, so you could be a little bit bigger than that or bigger in size than that and be fine. Or if you carry your weight differently, maybe you're a little bit smaller size than that and you might not be quite as comfortable in the jump seat. Again, this is not lip service. They will definitely, this is not something that like they say that they don't weigh you, but then they only hire skinny minis. That's not the truth. I always feel weird saying this, but I like to encourage people. So when I got hired as a flight attendant with my first airline, I was wearing a size 12. And then when I got hired with PSA Airlines, I was wearing a size 14. So, neither of those sizes are particularly considered thin. And I was able to successfully get hired as a flight attendant. So hopefully that is encouraging to you. Now let's talk about the third big thing that we get asked about, and that is tattoos. Okay, so aviation is very, very conservative. I mean, you can just look at what we're wearing. We're wearing scarves, we're wearing pantyhose, we got our hair pulled back, lipstick on. It's very conservative. Now, that flows into tattoos and piercings, okay? So basically, most airlines will allow you to have a tattoo that can be covered while in uniform. Now, while in uniform is actually different though for different airlines. Some airlines will say as long as you can wear one of our uniforms and it covers your tattoos, you're good. But some airlines want you to have tattoos that can be covered by any interview piece, which would mean you couldn't have a tattoo on your forearm because they offer short sleeve uniforms. But then some airlines say, no, we're fine with that as long as you promise that you'll always wear a long sleeve. So each individual airline has slightly different guidelines, and as you move through the process, you will be able to figure that out. One thing that is encouraging is we are moving in a direction of a little bit more freedom when it comes to tattoos. And in fact, Alaska Airlines is going to begin allowing their flight attendants, their employees, to have visible tattoos as long as they're smaller than a credit card and not offensive. So that is huge because we've never seen anything even close to that. So if you do have tattoos that are visible, or maybe you would like to be able to wear, the shorter skirt, not that a dress because you have something on your ankle, or even wrist tattoos. Those are the big ones that disqualify a lot of people, those wrist tattoos. Hopefully we'll see a little bit more leniency, and it definitely looks like we're moving in that direction. So those are the big three questions. Now about, that people have, like, am I too tattooed? Am I too old? Am I too fat? So hopefully that answers some of your questions as far as that's concerned. Now let's talk about I'm sorry, I got distracted by one of the comments. Let's talk about the actual process to get hired as a flight attendant, okay? So somebody just popped on, Jonathan, and said, why are you discussing interviews? Like I said at the beginning of this video, this is a welcome video for all the new people that are joining Flight Attendant Career Connections Facebook group. And a lot of those aspiring flight attendants are not even familiar with the process. So I addressed a lot of the current situation before I dove in. But if you're just new and you're saying, let me see how I become a flight attendant, I also want to answer those questions too. Okay, so how do you become a flight attendant? The first step is you need to make sure you're qualified and that you're ready to become a flight attendant. So the qualifications to be a flight attendant are actually pretty basic. First of all, you need to have a high school degree or a GED. You do not need any college, although college is always nice. Looks good on a resume, but it's really not a requirement, and honestly, it really doesn't help. So don't worry about that if your education isn't what you think it should be. That's the very basic requirements. You also need to have 2 to 3 years of customer service experience. So if you want to be a flight attendant, more than likely you have customer service experience because that's what you're good at and that's the way you're wired. So it can be anything from a call center to working at Kroger, to working at TJ Maxx, to working at Nordstrom, to working in a restaurant, to working in a school, to being even in the military. There's lots of opportunities for you to serve customers, being a police officer. There's lots of, more than likely, you are wired in a way that you like to help people. And so I'm going to guess that your jobs, babysitting, whatever it was, gives you that customer service experience. It doesn't have to be the very literal, traditional, I was a waitress or I worked at Nordstrom customer service. Anytime you're helping customers, internal or external, counts as customer service. So once you've figured out that you're qualified, the next thing that you want to think about is now the right time for you to become a flight attendant. So flight attendants make anywhere from $18,000 to $28,000 their first year, depending on your airline. So for some of you, that would be a pay increase. For some of you, it would be a pay cut. So based on where you are, you need to think about, is now the right time for me to take that jump? I am a big believer in not letting money stop you from your dreams, and we don't really do things for the money. The benefits that come with being a flight attendant, being able to help people, being able to see the world, being able to stay in hotels where somebody else changes the sheets and makes the bed, that's all valuable, but you also need to make sure that you can pay your bills. So if you need to take a little bit of a step back, save, sell your car, pay some stuff down before you really start diving in, now is actually the perfect time for you to do that because there's not as much opportunity. So the worst thing, what we don't want to happen is you get hired, go to training, and then realize that you can't swing it right now. So then you have to quit because that is way more heartbreaking than waiting a few months. Okay. So that you have to make sure it's the right time, make sure you're qualified. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to get your resume airline ready. Most airlines use a computer system to pre-screen their resumes, which means they're looking for keywords. It's a software system. It's not a person actually reading and understanding what you're writing. So we want to make sure that there's lots of keywords in your resume, and you can get those keywords from the job description of the flight attendant. So it's pretty much the same. It's words like customer service, safety, teamwork, multitasking, flexibility, dependability, on time. If you can think of another one, pop it in the comments if you want to. But these are the things that the computer system is looking for. You want a resume that is specifically tailored for the flight attendant position. So you're not necessarily going to talk about what you did as far as the job description of your job, but you are going to talk about your responsibilities that are relevant to the job that you're looking towards getting, which is flight attendant, and you can find that information, like I said, in the job description. I also have a link in the description to resume services because we offer a couple, but on that page there's also some free references and resources, videos, as well as I think a blog post with some keyword information. So if you're interested in that, you can click on that. It's in the description. So after you get your resume ready, now you're ready to apply. How do you apply? You apply online through the airline's website. Not through Indeed, not through Glassdoor, not through LinkedIn. Don't drop it off. Don't drop your resume off at the airport. Don't give it to your mama to give to her neighbor who used to be married to a Delta pilot. No, that's not how you apply. You apply online through the airline's website. You'll sometimes see recruiting things or like, we help flight attendants get jobs. Send us your resume. That's not where you want to apply. You want to apply with the airline's website. That link I was talking about earlier about who's hiring, who's accepting applications, it has a list of, it has all the airlines on there and links to their website so that it makes it really easy for you to click through and go and apply. So you don't apply with me, you don't apply at the airport, you apply online. Some of the applications are shorter than others. Some just want a resume uploaded and answer a couple questions. Delta this time around this year, they actually didn't even accept resumes at all. It was only a questionnaire. They didn't accept resumes like the whole time. You went all the way to the face-to-face without ever turning in your resume. So the entire hiring process was based off your interviewing and what you wanted them to know about you, which is kind of interesting. But everyone else wants a resume, so definitely get your resume ready. You're also going to probably want to have 10 years of work experience near your 10-year work experience information nearby. So that would be the name of your employer, the dates that you were hired, month and year, as well as your job title nearby, because some applications want that at the application stage, but some airlines will ask for it later on in the process. That is for your 10-year background check to make sure that you have the security clearance to become a flight attendant. So at some point you will be giving your airline that. So that's something nice to have nearby in case it's in the application process. Okay. So once you apply, then you wait. Sometimes you only wait a few minutes before you get your video interview invitation, and sometimes you wait a couple months. But the next thing you do is you wait. While you're waiting, you can continue to research. You can watch my videos on YouTube, like and subscribe, and you can also apply with some other airlines. Those are some things to do while you're waiting. Now, when you get, more than likely the next step will be a video interview. Now, this varies. Once you start the interview process, it varies from airline to airline. So let's talk about what you might encounter. You might encounter a video interview. A video interview is a one-way recorded video interview. There is not another person on the other end of the line. You will get a link, you will click on it. It's really kind of cool because you can do it in the middle of the night, you can do it when you get off work, you can do it whenever you want. And it pops up, the questions start appearing on the screen. Sorry, that's a loud truck. It's very user-friendly. You click, you record, you're just talking to yourself, kind of like I'm just talking to myself right now. And then you just record it, and then you click submit, and you send it off. It's usually anywhere from 4 to 7 questions. Glassdoor.com is a great resource for preparing for video interviews. I also have a couple videos that will help you with the logistics of it all on the YouTube channel. So video interview. Something else you might encounter is a phone interview. These are not very popular. The video interview has mostly replaced the phone interview in most cases. Southwest still does a phone interview and not a video interview, and then some airlines do a video interview and then a phone interview. But anyways, a phone interview, this is probably a little bit easier for you to think about how you would prepare for it. You don't have to worry about what you look like, but you do want to make sure that you're in a quiet place and that you're ready to talk about always why you want to be a flight attendant, why you want to work for that particular company. That's usually what the phone interview will consist of. A tip for the phone interview is to smile, even though they can't see you. For some reason, when you smile your face, it puts a smile in your voice that people can hear. Okay, so that's the phone interview. Next could be a live video interview. So Delta does these. We may see more and more. I think Mesa does them as well. And that's when it's more like Skype. So you're being interviewed by a recruiter and it's live and you're sort of Skyping with them. But again, you can do it from the comfort of your home. You do have to schedule it because there is another person that has to be there, so you can't do it in the middle of the night. But you do get to do it from home, and you don't have to travel, and you probably won't even need to take off work. So that's kind of nice, and that is a live video interview. So you'll see in the Facebook group, we use VI for video interview, PI for phone interview, LI for live interview, and then we have the magnificent face-to-face, F2F. Face-to-face interview. These are the interviews when you actually get to go somewhere and talk to somebody in real life in person. A lot of times you will be going to the airline's headquarters in Atlanta or in Dallas or in Houston or in Dallas again, or in Seattle, and you'll actually get to participate in, a lot of times it's like a day-long process. There's group activities where you're completing an activity or a game or setting up a bar cart with the applicants that are there with you so that you can show them how you can work as a member of a team. And you'll probably get to stand in front of the group and introduce yourself and maybe read an announcement or maybe say a fun fact about yourself so you can show how confident and beautiful you look standing in front of 300 strangers like you're going to do when you do the safety demo every day on the airplane. And then you'll have a face-to-face where you sit down across from a recruiter. Sometimes Sometimes there's 2 recruiters there talking to you. Sometimes there's 1 recruiter and 2 or 3 applicants having their face-to-face. But you will get to answer questions and explain why you are so passionate about the flight attendant career, why you think you'd be an awesome flight attendant, why you think you can represent the brand really well. And also you'll tell them about how you would handle situations on the plane. Like if you had a passenger who was drunk and he asked for more alcohol, or someone's not, wearing their seatbelt, or there's someone who's complaining about someone else kicking their seat, and how you would handle those kinds of situations. You'd get the opportunity to talk about sort of what your instincts are as far as becoming a flight attendant. And that's the face-to-face. Sometimes some airlines will offer job offers on the spot. We call those CJOs, conditional job offer. Some airlines offer it right there on the spot and you get to walk away with your golden ticket. Some airlines don't, and they will send you a email later or give you a phone call offering you the job. You also always, of course, have the possibility of getting what we call a thanks but no thanks. It's a no thank you letter. In the Facebook group or in social media, you'll see it as TBNT, thanks but no thanks. These will come when you are no longer being considered for the position. The airlines, aviation airlines, are very good about letting you know. Anywhere along those process, when they decide that they're not going to move forward with you, you get an email. So you're not usually lingering around or never hearing from someone. You'll hear back. You'll find out if you were successful or not. For the most part, most airlines are really good about that. So that is a little bit about how the process works. Now, after you get your job, then you will have a drug test and a background check, and then you're off to training, which can be anywhere from 4 to 6.5 weeks. And now that we're talking about training, let's talk about flight attendant schools. Flight attendant schools are not necessary. They're a waste, in my opinion, they are a waste of time and they are a waste of money. It's not my opinion that they're not needed, because they're not needed, but the other 2 are my opinion. I really encourage people to invest their time and money in other ways, because your airline will train you how to be a flight attendant. You do not have to be a flight attendant or know how to be a flight attendant to get hired as a flight attendant. Your airline will teach you that, and they will teach you how to be the flight attendant that they want you to be. So we don't want to pay someone to teach us how to be a flight attendant in one way and then go to training and have to unlearn everything that we've learned, unlearn our evacuation commands, unlearn our firefighting procedures, all of this, and then relearn it the way that your airline wants you to learn it. Go in green, go in ready to learn and absorb into training, but use your time and resources to make sure your resume is on point, your interview skills are on point. Take a CPR class if you want, take a swimming lesson if you need it, use some time to volunteer, buy some books about careers. There's lots of books about the flight attendant career as well as other career books. Those are the places I encourage you to invest your time and money in as an aspiring flight attendant. Okay, that's how you become a flight attendant. Whoa, I think that was a lot of information. Thank you for sticking with me, if you're still sticking with me. Let's talk a little bit about resources and how Flight Attendant Career Connection can help. I've mentioned several of these things, but I'm going to mention them all again right now. So we do have a free YouTube channel. I'm working on putting more and more content out there so that it's a library that's easy to use and easy to get the information you need. Everything from how to write your resume, how to ace the video interview, how to prepare for the face-to-face, plus more is on the YouTube channel. The name of the YouTube channel is Abby Unger TV. I'll put a link in the description here or in the comments or somewhere so you can find it. That's one thing. Another thing that we do is we do offer, I offer resume services, resume rewrites, and reviews depending on what you need. Interview coaching. So right now there's not a lot of interviewing going on, but if you watch this video now and then you have an interview in a couple months, I want to make sure you know about this information. Private interview coaching is done one-on-one with me. There's details on the website about the ins and outs of that, how it works, and the pricing. And then also right now, this is something that you do need to know about today. Right now, there is a new package that I put together called the preparation package. We're in a time of preparation. Now's the time for you to, if you want to become a flight attendant, now is the time for you to get ready for when the opportunity presents itself. So the preparation package it's specially priced too. It's $27, and it includes the Flight Attendant Career Connection Workbook bundle, which has several books and resources in it, and that just the bundle usually costs $30. And then it also comes with the confidence class to help you learn the tools you need to be confident in your interview, in training, and as a flight attendant. So I love that one because it covers everything. And then there's also the STAR format training. STAR format is a type of interview question that every airline uses, and if you are not familiar with it, it can be confusing. So I have a special training, and all three of those are available. So if you think you want to become a flight attendant at some point, if you are in the middle of you were in the middle of the interview process and your interview got put on hold, this resource is something that you can scoop up right today, special price for April, and I know that it will be helpful to anyone, no matter where you are in the process, except unless you're in training. It's not really for people in training. So it's at the beginning of the process. And the link to purchase the preparation package is in the description of this video, and it actually takes you to a page that goes over everything that you get, so it's super clear in case you weren't familiar with any of the things that I was talking about. I am so thankful that you stuck with me to the end. I appreciate it. I also want you to know that aviation has been through things like this before. We have been through really tough times. Aviation, I have said this, I've always said this, is very fickle. It is. It's just a very fickle industry. It's up and down. It's out. You love it, you hate it. It, lifts you up. It breaks your heart. That's just how aviation is. But I believe that flight attendants have a very, very special calling. And it's more than a job, and it's more than even a career, and sometimes it's even more than a lifestyle. It is a calling to help people. And we are seeing that right now more than ever as they move people to the side of a loved one who's dying during this pandemic and no one's even supposed to be traveling, or they shuttle medical professionals up to New York, or they move people around and they get people home, and they transport the military. And there are so many things that flight attendants do, and there are so many opportunities that flight attendants have to make a difference in the day and sometimes even in the life of their passengers. And so that is why I'm passionate about this career. I know that there are a lot of people right now that are hurting in aviation because they have lost their job, their airline is closed, their training got canceled, their interview got postponed. I know that, and I'm not trying to Pollyanna my way out of it or lead anyone on, but I also know that aviation will come back, and there will be opportunities, and I want us to be ready for them when they present themselves. So I love you. I'm here for you. I believe in you. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.